I'm sure I'll be able to figure out a way to like upload this to YouTube or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet, but I just had a thought. I was replaying Arkham Origins, Batman Arkham Origins, because despite the fact that it's been completely just like disregarded and discounted even by Rocksteady and Sony and anywhere you can get it, like you have to basically stream it now because no one will re-release it or remaster it or port it to PS4, PC or anything. Well, it's on PC, but my setup's garbage. Anyway, point being, I'm just replaying it, and personally, it's my favorite one. I think it has a lot of the best design of the villains. I think it has probably the most refined gameplay up to Arkham Knight. Like, Arkham Knight is good, it plays well, but it's not a good game. Anyway, I have a soft spot for Arkham Origins, so I've been replaying it, but I've already beat the game, and I'm just kind of rubbing around the world, and there's basically like a continuing side mission after the fact where Gordon wants you to round up a bunch of Blackgate prisoners who've escaped, and it's funny because they basically make you do the interrogation thing every time you catch one, even though you're not actually getting information from them. There's just a little dialogue option to talk to the prisoners, the escaped prisoners who you're rounding up. And I just had one, it's like my third or fourth guy. And he basically is like, I'm not going back to Blackgate. The guards are worse than the prisoners there, because initially everything, the game takes place in a time when the police department, the prison system, it's all very, very corrupt, which is why Batman's doing what he's doing. So he's still like learning. He learns in this game to trust the police and the system. But, and the whole idea being like, now it's going to reform Gordon and, the new governor, whoever, Harvey Dent, they're all going to make things better. It's going to be less corrupt. Even the prisoners will be treated better. But the prisoners like, oh no, it's corrupted. They abuse us. They treat us worse there than out on the streets. And then Batman's like, that's all going to change now. Then he drops a knee on the guy's fucking neck and kills him. But you're supposed to believe like he knocked him out. It's like, to me, it made me laugh. I've had a drink, but it just made me laugh so hard because as much as I love these games, their interpretation of Batman, he's a fucking monster. Like, he's almost as bad as Batfleck. Like, I watched a video, I can't remember who it was by. It might have been from Game Theory or someone, but basically it's had someone who knows a little bit about medicine and trauma injury. And basically just pointing out a lot of the animations in the game and a lot of the way the gameplay works, which it's all very functional, it's very fun to play, but if you think about it for more than a second, like, Batman is a psychotic mass murderer. Like, he just kills every criminal. They go into the fact that even, like, one of the coolest things about the game is the gargoyle takedowns, or like when you're up on a ledge, you can basically string a guy up by his legs and drop him down, and you'll just leave him there, and that's like a cool takedown. You get him out of the way. He's not a threat anymore, and he's hanging up from above. But, like, dropping a guy from that height with a rope around his leg would probably dislocate his leg, break his femur, cause massive internal bleeding, and all the blood would rush to his head, and that guy would die within minutes. And there's so many things in these games like that where it's like the dialogue doesn't match what's happening. Like, the actual physical animations, they're functional as a gameplay element, but they really don't work if you think about them as, like, reality. It exists in a comic book universe, and the games are very, very heightened. There's a lot of sci-fi technology. Like, it's very comic booky. It's supposed to be. So I get, like, what they were going for, Rocksteady, but it's just so much of what you do in these games is just straight up murder. It's just murder. Batman it's like that fucking College Humor sketch where I think it's Pete Holmes is like, he's like Bale Batman in the suit. And he's like, no, they're just knocked out. No, he's sleeping. He's fine. It's okay that he has all those batarangs in his neck and he's bleeding from his head. He's just sleeping. Like, that's the way you have to interpret a lot of Batman. And, like, don't get me wrong. That's what I mean. Like, I still love these games. It's just, it would be very, very hard to do, like, a grounded Batman where all the gameplay and all the animations, like, function in a real world where, like, this is how you would actually restrain somebody, or this is how a fight would really go, or how Batman would operate, because he, if he goes head on against a guy, like a group of men with assault rifles, he's going to get shot and killed, and there's nothing he can do about it. And on top of that, the idea of him being like a detective is, he's and this is a problem with all Batman media. You can't really have him be a detective all the time because he's a comic book superhero. Because what a detective would actually do would be avoid confrontation at any opportunity. And that's boring. You know what I mean? Like, if Batman were just a crime serial, he would just be a detective in a silly outfit. That's what I would prefer. Some of my favorite Batman comics are the ones where he's solving a crime, being Sherlock Holmes in a bat outfit. And if he gets in a fight, he's a 6'2", 200-pound martial arts savant with all this technology and armor. Like, he's prepared for a confrontation. That's why Batman's so dangerous. But in reality, his tactic would be avoided at all costs. If he can call the cops and get them there, or if he can get the information he needs and get out and there's no immediate threat to any innocents, he wouldn't even bother fighting the criminals. There'd be no reason to, other than him wanting to beat the shit out of criminals, which that is some people's interpretation of Batman. That's certainly Frank Miller's interpretation of Batman, but like, it's just funny to me the way the games, granted, like the first one was in like 2009, right? So they're old. Like, it's an old system. They haven't released one since 2015. You know, they're going for comic book Batman, and that's, I think, why a lot of people love them so much, is because they're very exactly what you imagine a Batman game to be. Me personally, I would like to see a more grounded Batman, and I just found it funny that just the dichotomy between like him trying to reassure this prisoner that like everything's gonna be fine, we're gonna fix it, everything's gonna be better for you. He just fucking breaks his neck. Anyway, that was just a thought I had. Take care.